you. Hi, I'm Ariane. This is Book Zealots, and I'm finally getting to my May wrap-up. Just a lot of stuff going on, and tech. I hate tech. I hate tech. Anyway, so May was pretty good. I mean, May made up for April, because April I did not do a very good job in April. I read 10 books, 2,675 pages roughly, because I count the actual story, not the notes, etc. My first book, Fits for Serious About Series. This is number 2 of a series by Jill Eileen Smith. It's called Abigail. She was the 3rd wife of King David, and this is called the Wives of King David series. I did not like this one. Michael, however you want to say, King David's first wife was so much better. This one was just lust. And I don't even want to read Bathsheba. If you know, you know. I don't even want to read number 3. I don't want to read it. I'm disappointed with that one. Another book, these are not in order. My apologies. Oh yeah, they are. Okay, The Power of a Praying Woman, Stormie Omartian. Omartian. I looked it up. Omartian. And excellent prayers. There are a few issues I had with this though, and I wrote them down. So she doesn't use the King James Version. She uses at least 3. If you've been around my channel long enough, you understand that, hey, I don't care which version you use, just stick with it. If she used the NIV throughout the whole thing, excellent, love it. But the fact that she switched between the NKJ, the NLT, and the ASV is very sus to me. It's very suspicious. I don't like that. Just stick with one. Then in chapter 28, she wrote, "Be like Jesus," which is great. Just for the 7 examples, but Jesus was instead of is. So what I mean by that is she used Jesus in the past tense. The flesh died, not Jesus. So that's a problem. And then on page 50, Luke 6:37, not full context, but the book was very encouraging. Would I read anything else by her? Yes. Am I going to keep this? I'm not sure. I'll have to pray about it. It might be more beneficial to somebody who's more of a new Christian. Maybe, I don't know, read it with discernment. Read everything with discernment. Then I buddy read this. I forgot my notes. Okay, so Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I buddy read this with Fern at Piano Man's Library, and Fern already has her review up, so I will leave her information. Oh, I can't leave a card. I will leave her review in the description box. Now, because we kept texting each other about this, she found a cheat sheet for the French translation, because that was one of the things I could not stand about this book. Charlotte Bronte comes off as such a snob to me. Well, everybody reads French, right? Of course they do. Everybody knows French. No, lady. Think about the future. We're ignorant now. Anyway, I'm glad I read it. It was an accidental reread. I have read this in the past and did not know half of what I read then that I obviously as an adult understand now. And another thing that I wanted to mention is Fern and I had discussed the ending. I'm not going to say what happened, except for that there are 2 religions involved. And based on that time period and England and France, it was not acceptable. That's all I'm going to say about that. What I will say is that I did not like the ending. It was flaky, in my opinion. It was, as an author, I think she should have made a decision instead of leaving it for the reader. And so it felt cowardly to me that she didn't give an ending. If you need a separate review of Villette, let me know. I mean, it's a classic. If you don't know about Villette, I'll talk to you in the comments section. Then, did I read this? How many times has that happened? Did I actually read this? No. How did this book get in? I'm sorry. How did that book get in with my... I don't remember reading this. Where'd this come from? Well, I didn't read it. I don't know how it got mixed up. Anyway, so Lincoln Spies, Their Secret War to Save a Nation by Douglas Waller. There are 4 people listed on the front, but it goes into so much more depth of other spies. There was an Alan Pinkerton, and yes, the Pinkerton Investigation Company, I don't know what it's called, they still exist. Pinkerton, however, was not a good investigator, and he was an even worse spy. Elizabeth Van Lew, she lived in Virginia, and she would hide Union soldiers, and she was in the thick of Confederate land where she lived. I think it was Charlotte. I don't remember, but I mean she spent a ton of money, and that's another thing. So she, after the war, was begging for money from Ulysses S. Grant. It was pathetic. She didn't budget. She just threw her money around willy-nilly. She was not a good steward. Was she a good spy? Yes. Did she hide people? Very well. Anyways, then there was a George Sharp and a Lafayette Baker. There was also spies for the Confederate side, and I think there was a Miss Bell. I don't remember her first name. And of course, there was like rumors going around that any woman that was a spy was a loose, immoral woman. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but you know, obviously the other side is going to degrade a woman's reputation because that was pretty much all they had. I have a lot of notes. There are a couple of pinks and one red. Let me see what the red one is. Was talking about the Union and the Confederates to their deaths defending a repulsive slave system. Well, if you believe the propaganda that is taught in the public school government institution, then yes, that is true. But that's not why the war started. It's what Lincoln did to change the narrative. So there's that. Am I going to keep it? No. Am I glad I read it? Yes. Is it one of the better Lincoln books that I've read? No. And I'll have to do a Lincoln review. As it was in the days of Noah, warnings from Bible, blah, 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 blah. As it was in the days of Noah, warnings from Bible prophecy about the coming global storm by Jeff Kinley. This book was so bad. It started off well. It really, really did. It started off well, and then it started down a slippery slope. So it gets the time period of the death, burial, and resurrection incorrect. And he was also stuck on a particular group of people. and actually said that they are not going to hell. I'm sorry, when did Jeff Kinley become God? However, that's not what the Bible says. I am going to leave John 19:11, 1 Corinthians 6, 9 and 10, Romans 1, 26 and 27. I strongly suggest that Mr. Jeff Kinley look those up and maybe allow God to show him truth instead of his truth. I know that's a thing right now, but that's your truth, not my truth. Okay. Then there's another section. So I have testing the spirit and pastors during lockdown. Okay. So this man was talking about when was the last time you heard someone say that they were under, and he actually has this in quotes, the authority of their pastor, under the authority, quote, end quote, of their pastor. Where were you during lockdown? What happened during lockdown? Did the churches stay open? Or were they so worried about their 501c3? God either can, or the pastors who locked down, their God can't. Yes, I'm to the point where I don't care anymore. Pastors. Paul's warning applies to armchair philosophers and wannabe theologians who advocate doctrines that are different from those found in Scripture, like this book. I don't recommend that book. I had high hopes for it. Like I said, it started out well, started out strong, and then plummeted. Then I read a book that Prometheus replaced for another book that he had chosen. The Science of Interstellar by Kip Thorne, forward by Christopher Nolan. I believe Christopher Nolan was the producer or the director for the Interstellar movie. While I was reading this book, Prometheus and I watched the movie again. I had so many questions. So obviously, there's a lot of science in here that I did not understand. I had to look up and research so much while I was reading this. And because there's pictures but not video, I need to see the action of what is taking place. Now, there was one picture in here. I had to ask Prometheus so many questions. There was one picture in here that is an inaccurate representation, in my opinion. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, this picture of this wave. I'm a beach baby. I grew up in California on the beach, and I'm talking hippie style. I studied waves. I was a surfer. And I know that his information in here is not completely accurate. So Prometheus had to explain it to me that this is actually what he means. I know you're looking at it from the complete wave, not from this one particular singularity. But it talks about the singularity at the tip wave that is about to break, because a wave doesn't all go over, that when it's towards the end, some of it falls back. I had so many questions reading this book. Did I like string theory? I don't know. I thought string theory had been debunked. And then, anyway, if you love this sort of thing, I highly recommend it. And let me know if you've seen the movie Interstellar and what you thought of it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Then I read, oh boy, this was a finish what I started book. Historic Papers on the Causes of the Civil War by Eugenia Dunlap Potts and Mildred Lewis Rutherford. So I asked in the community page for someone, the first person to pick between a selected number. This was book 500, and Dustin, and I'll leave Dustin's information down below, chose this book for me. I mean, he didn't know what book he was choosing. He just chose a number. I'm so glad I read this. Parts of it are cringe, reading it through a modern lens. I think it was the first essay. The last is pretty much the only one that needs to be read. The propaganda started early, like real early, like Reconstruction early. The narrative to change history of what the future was going to be taught. Oh boy. There was a lot of information that was hard to find online because of the propaganda, and the narrative has changed. So I had to do a lot of minus AI to find information, but even Google is a hodgepodge. It's a mess. Google's a mess right now. Researching things is a mess right now. So who am I going to believe? People who were actually in the area during that time period, or Google? I'm not going to believe Google. And people who teach history right now in public government institutions, what are they teaching? Because the government tells them what to teach. Ask me how I know. The last one, this is a keeper, by the way. Not because I agree with all of the information in there, but because I question everything, and it has information that is not readily available. And if I don't save it, then it'll be lost. So I read a book. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something. I requested people to tell me 5 classics that they wanted me to read. I think it was Nancy, but Nancy I don't think has a channel. She doesn't post. She has an account, but not a channel. She recommended Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington, and I never read it. So my library doesn't have it. I listened to the audio. The PDF book was attached. It's like 7 hours long. It shouldn't take that long to get through, but it's really hard for me to read online. So it was hard. I had to take breaks because it's so hard. And I had to research stuff. Now, something that I found so fascinating was that Booker T. Washington was not against segregation. What? Really? Okay. I have notes. So if you want a separate review, I have notes. And I am more than happy to put them all together to do a proper review on Booker T. Washington. Born into Slavery was about, there was an error in his age too, because in the book he wrote he was older, like he was born later by 2 years than what Tuskegee University has listed. So he was quite young when the Emancipation Proclamation was read and the enslaved people on that plantation were released. They ended up having a harder time making a way of life, of survival, when they were given their freedom. Go ahead, Beth. So at first, when the slaves, and in the book it makes it seem like there were a lot of slaves, but I researched the, I don't remember the name of the estate or plantation. It was not a very large farm, and they did not have a large number of slaves. 1 is too many, I get it, but I'm just repeating history. So when in the book, in Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery, I was reading it and was thinking, oh my goodness, they had a lot of slaves. How many slaves did they have? And I had to look it up, and there weren't that many, like less than 20. I want to say there was less than 15, but the exuberance that these people had for their freedom was palpable. They all go to their cottages or cabins or what have you, shacks. I don't know the condition of them other than it was a dirt floor. The reality hit them kind of at the same time, and I don't know how much time passed. And then the older slaves went to the owners of the plantation, of the farm, and were asking them questions like, oh, what are we gonna do? So Booker T, his mom was married, I don't know to what extent that means. She goes to West Virginia to be with her husband, and then the husband, the stepfather of two of her children, Booker T and one of his brothers, basically enslaves them in the salt industry or the salt refinery or whatever it was. Anyway, I'm very happy that I read it. Thank you, Nancy, for recommending it. And then the last book I read was Why We Talk Funny by Valerie Fridlin. It started out really well, and then she had to get political. And I looked up the information, and she sided with a witness and said that the witness was, what's the word I'm looking for, was looked down upon because she spoke a certain way. I watched her video. I watched the witness, and I disagree. The witness did not speak eubonics or AAVE in the ghetto sense. She was an intelligent young woman. You could see she was an intelligent young woman, and she was put on the witness stand, I think, for 3 days and really put to the test. Why she as a witness did not stand up was because there were inconsistencies in her story. So Valerie lost kudos for that assumption and including that it was not necessary. Do Southern people get looked down upon by Northern people? Yes. Are there Northern people that get looked down upon because of their accent? I doubt it. Are there people in England who get looked down upon because of their accent? Yes. Because apparently there is quite a discrepancy in their, is it called the caste system? Their class system. I did not know that, but can I believe what she said? I don't know. I've heard it outside of this book. You let me know. If you are in England, you let me know. Now, am I going to believe what Meghan Markle says over somebody else that's on BookTube that's in England and actually lives there and isn't an outsider? Yes, I'm going to believe them before I believe her. There's a reason why we don't... No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there because that's not about her. Anyway, I had a great reading month. It was a fantastic reading month. Did I have to do a lot of research on every single book that I read? Yes! And so it was very time consuming. And honestly, I'm surprised I got through 10 books. But like I said, it was, short, and very easy, even though it's not really short. Let me see how many pages it is. Oh yeah, it's less than 400 pages, so I would consider that as short. So there were a lot of short books, and then the audio from slavery. Anyway, fantastic month. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know how your month was, what you thought of these books, if you've already read them, and if you have any other suggestions, because, you know, I can always add them to 2027 TBR. Anyways, love you guys. Talk to you in the comment section. Bye.